Hey guys, this is Mike, your host of Craft Beer Storm. And we have another interview today. It was at CBC and I met Brian Faivre. He's the Deschutes BrewMaster. Deschutes is doing a lot of good stuff. They're in Bend, Oregon. I tasted Deschutes beer when I was in Virginia in Roanoke. They have a kind of a pub there with all their beer. It's excellent. And I got the opportunity to talk to him at CBC. He was very gracious. And here we go. And I'm here with Brian Faivre. He is the brewmaster for Deschutes. How are you doing, Brian?
Great. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for coming up. It's really awesome. You know, we got you. It was kind of I think it was a message through Instagram or something. And then
yeah, and I got passed along.
I'm like, oh yeah, we get Brian the brewmaster. I'm like, what? Okay, cool. That's awesome. So we're here at CB. How do you like the conference here?
Oh, it's great. It's always fun to get this many brewers together. I heard the numbers were over 14,000 this year.
Yeah.
So it's not really easy, I think, to get everybody together in one spot. But the trade show is amazing. The networking, it's great to see everybody.
Yeah.
And then also the education seminars and the social events. So much fun. And Denver's a great place.
Yeah, we had Ann here from the BA. She's the marketing director, but she says it takes about 3 years ahead of time to plan this stuff out.
Yeah.
Like next year is San Antonio, I think, right?
Yeah, that should be a blast. Yeah, I don't want that job.
No, but everything goes off really great. I mean, no drama, and just everybody's happy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When can you go to a place where 14,000 people are happy?
Yeah, I agreed.
Right.
Yeah, no kidding.
Where are you going to find that? So anyway, I just wanted to, maybe get into your kind of your story, how you ended up at Deschutes, your background, and maybe you can go over that a little bit.
Yeah, so I think like a lot of brewers, I started off home brewing in college, and I was going to a junior college in Santa Rosa, California, and just happened to be right across the street from where I was renting an apartment was Byron Birch's homebrew shop. And so that was the first home brewing book I picked up, and kind of learned about home brewing and bought a kit. And then from there, I remember I was just so amazed. I think when I finally realized that you could actually make beer, it just blew me away. It just seemed like that's got to happen in some big factory. And so I remember going to my career counselor at the junior college and saying, I want to make beer for a living. And I know it's not what she said, but I think what I heard or internalized was there's no future, there's no career in doing that. So, then I went back. I eventually got a degree in computer science and worked as a software engineer for about 5 years. But that whole time throughout college and afterwards, that was truly my passion and what I loved doing. And I remember my last semester of college for computer science, and we had to take a career counseling course. And our instructor said, you got to read What Color's Your Parachute? And I was saying, well, I'm not going to read this. I got a job lined up.
Right.
Why do I need to read this? And so I kind of stuffed it aside. And 5 years later, kind of burnt out on what I'm doing. Still love home brewing, and I decided to kind of just take a break. I was living in Bend, Oregon, but not affiliated with Deschutes. I was going to move to San Francisco, and I came across that book. And so I ended up reading it, and you get to this end, and you kind of find, what are your top 3 passions? So for me, it was making beer, and it was working with science, math, computers, and all that stuff, right? And so then it was, okay, find a job doing that, which I just thought was a total pipe dream. And shortly after that, I'm in San Francisco, and I'm taking some time off and go to a brew pub, San Francisco Brewing Company, that's no longer there, but had a lot of history, a lot of brewers that went through there. They had a posting for assistant brewer. I applied. I got that job, did that for about 2 years. I also worked at a small pub in Marin. And then I decided to go back to UC Davis and do the Master Brewers program.
Right.
Finished that, and then I started as a production brewer at Deschutes about 15 years ago. And then I think I've just been fortunate, opportunities for growth and timing and opportunity there. So really grateful for the path.
Wow. Now, do you know Mitch Steele?
Yes, yeah.
He went through the same program as well.
Yeah, a lot of great brewers.
I had him on a podcast a couple of weeks ago. So we're having really good brewers lately, man. So, yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you been with Deschutes for?
Yeah, so 15 years. So, or I guess 15 years this July. But started as a production brewer, and about 2.5 years later, was promoted to a kind of a lead brewing role. And then I spent some time working on. We had a lot of. We went through a huge growth phase, so we were installing a lot of new fermenters, new centrifuge, new packaging equipment. So I spent a lot of time working on doing some engineering work for the brewery. So we'd have to get that equipment in, get it commissioned, installed, collect data around it. And then in 2011, I was promoted to brewmaster, and
Wow.
been there ever since.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Deschutes, well, you guys are pretty large, I guess, right, in terms of volume, and you're all over the. I don't know if you're in the Northeast, are you? I haven't seen your beer out there.
Not really yet. Where you can find us in Pennsylvania, Virginia, North Carolina,
Right.
Ohio, but not quite there.
That's where I found you guys. I went because I've heard of you, and I really haven't tried the beer before. And I went to Roanoke to try to explore some opportunities, and you have like a pub there. And I'm like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
And every beer I had was like, wow, this is good stuff. I mean, and then I had the opportunity to talk to you, and I had that last night I was out in Colorado. They had the fresh squeezed IPA, which is really good. And also I had when I was in Virginia, I believe I had the Obsidian Stout.
Yes.
Which is really good.
Yeah. That's one of my. Fresh squeezed is our number one selling beer. We make more fresh squeezed than anything else. A lot of Citra Mosaic hops.
It's a Citra Mosaic, yeah.
Yeah. So really kind of juicy, just really drinkable IPA.
Yeah, it is drinkable.
Yeah.
It doesn't slap you in the face.
Right,
But it's
right.
really, you enjoy it. That's why I had two.
Yeah, it's
I
refreshing.
was just I enjoyed
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Right. So sometimes you have one of these and you're done.
Yeah, and then I was just going to say the Obsidian Stout. So one of my, stouts, obviously not as popular as other styles out there,
Right.
but Obsidian Stout, one of my all-time favorite Deschutes beers, and if you can find it on Nitro, it's amazing. But yeah.
But there's some. I saw a slide from Bart Watson yesterday,
Yeah.
and I interviewed him actually yesterday as well. And where the number one trend, I guess, is the crisp in a beer, like a pilsner, like a lager, and
Yep.
then the second one's dark.
That's great. Yeah.
So I mean,
Love it.
I make stout. My beer I make out of Irish barley. That's why
okay.
I saw a lager in here. That's our thing. I'm trying to make it my thing because I don't think anybody else is. Every beer has Irish barley as a base, but our number one seller in the tap room is a stout.
Oh, that's great. Love it.
But if I go out to a restaurant and they're like, "Hey, this is a stout," they're like, "Oh, it's dark."
Yeah.
I can't take that. I'm not going to sell it. I'm
Right.
like, well, why don't you try it?
Yeah, that's a tough battle.
challenge.
Yeah, tough battle for us to continue to fight. Get people to try dark beer. They'll love it.
But it's crazy. Yeah. So where are you? You're distributed. What's your footprint around the U.S.?
Yes, I believe it's about 30 states right now, and it's almost, if you look kind of out to Texas and you go north of there, right, for the most part, we're in a few states in the Midwest, and then we're really not in the Southeast or the Northeast. That's kind of our biggest gap.
Where's the brewery based, though?
Oh, in Bend, Oregon. Yep.
Bend, Oregon, okay.
Yep. So,
Excellent.
and then, we've got Original Brew Pub, is then also in Bend, our production facility, and then we have a pub in Portland, Oregon, and then the tasting room in Roanoke.
So I think you bought some land in Roanoke. Is that happening, or what? The brewery there is on hold, or I just keep hearing different stories?
Yeah, and so recently in the news, so where we're at with the Roanoke facility. So 3, 4, 5 years ago, I mean, we were just this growth pattern we were on. We thought Roanoke made a lot of sense. The city felt really good. But right now, what we've seen, and they've talked a little bit about it this week, but the sheer number of breweries, I think we're up over 7,600 now, is right now it doesn't make sense from a volume standpoint and a financial standpoint for Deschutes Brewery to open the Roanoke facility. So at this point, we own the land, and we're just going to kind of wait and see how the market performs and how we perform and go from there.
No, you can't just open a brewery without really looking at the patterns and the data. I think Green Flash, I talked about it with some other individuals. Green Flash had that Virginia Beach facility.
Right,
which was beautiful.
Yeah.
And Mitch and his brewery, New Realm.
Yeah.
They took it on, but I mean, I saw pictures of it. It was like fantastic.
Yeah,
But the Green Flash the whole thing kind of blew up, and was unfortunate because they have excellent beer. They're still around, but
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, I think that's been my favorite thing about Roanoke is the people. I know the people are excited. It's great we still have the tap room, and we'll kind of see what the future brings there.
Yeah, but they are great people down there.
Yes,
I really enjoy. I tried to do some things to explore, maybe help some people out there. It didn't work out too well, but you never know. Roanoke, bring me back, but get some cash though. Get some cash before I go. Okay. Anyway, so a lot of, like you said, a lot of the beer is trending kind of hyper local.
Yes,
and it's taking away because you're kind of. I mean, what do you guys consider yourselves, like a regional brewery?
Yeah, I guess you would call us regional. We're in the latest numbers from the BA, we're the 10th largest brewery in the U.S.
Wow.
So we'll probably make about 300,000 barrels this year.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What's your system? Like, what's the size of yours?
Yeah, so we have two main production. Well, our main production brew house, it's 150 barrels, and depending on the brand mix, we could do close to 10 to 11 brews in a 24-hour period.
Whoa.
And then all of our Obsidian Stout is still brewed on our original production brew house, which is a 50-barrel system that we will run.
That's amazing. My large system's my small system's 50 barrels.
Well, I will say, so we did great project about a year and a half ago. We added a pilot plant that is 1 barrel. So,
all right, there you go. You can experiment with that. That's more my speed. I have a 7-barrel system, and it's kind of we're small. So, but I tried to develop a brand, and I did.
Yeah.
And now, actually, I'm trying to divest myself from that facility. It's great for somebody to come in. If they have an idea, they want to build a brand.
Right.
Come in, and then I'm going to kind of figure out the next level, maybe do some contract brewing or something like that. Because it's so capital intensive, the whole industry.
Yes, right? Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize how much money it takes to get up and get a brewery up and running. Get good.
I know. And in a small scale. And it was just me.
Right.
And I used a lot of repurposed equipment, from a pharmaceutical company. It was a huge tank. Actually, they're here, Feldmeyer.
Yeah.
I went to go visit them. They made these like 10 tanks for this pharmaceutical company a long time ago. It was like 500 gallon tanks, and they were going to scrap them.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and someone showed me a picture of it. Inside it's like brand new. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to take one of them. So I went down to New Jersey, and I put it on a U-Haul, and we brought it up to New Hampshire. And we had a plumber hook it up, and now that's our brew kettle.
Great.
And then we do like the mash tun is a old dairy tank.
Yeah.
Which is insulated stainless steel, great surface area, and we mash in that, and the beer's coming out of good.
Yeah. I mean, and it's almost always tell people that you can make a really good home brew, right? And you look at you don't need the most sophisticated equipment. Same thing with large scale brewing, but you got to be creative, especially when you start to look at the capital investment.
Oh my God, and just people, the money being thrown at some of these systems. And they just have an idea. They haven't even brewed the beer yet. Or they have some home brew that they, I don't know. Anyway, so to say it's trending hyper local. What do you think about like adding? Do you do some collaborations with local ingredients in your beer and try to deal with some local, or how does that work?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of some good examples. We have, the craft maltsters are becoming a lot more popular.
Yeah.
So we've got one in Madras, which is about 45 minutes away from Bend, and so we've got a great relationship with Mecca Grade, and so we've done some work with them. I'm trying to think of other opportunities. We always look to source and get, one of the things the brewing staff was talking about was going out and getting some spruce tips from the local area to use in brewing and having that be a brewing outing. So in the past we've used we'll source berries are obviously very popular in Oregon. Cranberries from bogs in Oregon has been a lot of fun. So it's always nice if you can support your community by using those ingredients.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's important, and the trend is going that way, and. But you're making a lot of beer and you're selling it, which is fantastic, and it's across the country, and it's great. It's great beer too.
Thank you. Yeah,
like as things get bigger, then it loses its kind of original.
Yeah. We spend a lot of. We got a very talented brewing staff, QA, just operations team in general. But and that's another piece too. I don't think you look at the cost and what it takes to get a brewery up and running, but then to operate it, right, maintain it, to make sure you're hitting all these quality specs, so consumers are getting the quality you want to deliver all the time. It's a lot of work.
It is, especially on that kind of scale. Wow. So what are the challenges you see, like in the craft beer industry, like for all brewers?
Yeah, and I thought there was a really good slide that I believe it was either from yesterday or the day before, where they're just showing the sheer number. They plotted the number of breweries, I think, since 2014, and the number of barrels of growth on average per brewer. And so as the number of breweries have increased, that growth per brewery has declined pretty significantly, which kind of makes sense. So I think I'd say that's the biggest thing out there is, as an industry, if breweries are able, if we're reaching that saturation point, and you're not going to see the huge growth that we've seen over this last really kind of decade, how do you kind of settle in, and how are you able to kind of maintain quality, get your product out, be able to maintain some growth, and be able to support your employees and keep your operation running? So I think that's right now at Deschutes, we experienced the same thing. We had a lot of capital projects, so new fermenters constantly, new packaging lines, new centrifuges, all coming in, right, to keep up.
Wow.
And now we're at a spot which is kind of nice from a brewer's perspective, we really get to kind of focus on efficiency, look at our systems a little bit closer, at the same time try to improve quality, because we're not going to be investing in equipment at this point until something turns around. So,
right.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing, and it is a challenge, like for especially the cash component of it. And brewers have to get innovative.
Yes,
they have to stand out. They have to do something that differentiates yourself.
Yep,
you can't just make an IPA. Yeah, it'd be awesome. Everybody will buy it. No, it's not necessarily correct. It's not like a slam dunk.
Right.
You got to have some kind of hook.
Yeah, and that is another big challenge, is being able to innovate, and I think and we struggle with it on a larger scale, just because for us to try to launch a new brand, and if you think about everything we have to kind of have lined up to get that, especially if it's going to go into retail, so it's going to show up on a shelf. So the artwork, design, approval, marketing,
right.
Get the sales team all aligned for all the states. It is a lot of work, but the consumer. That's what we're seeing, right? They're really wanting innovation right now.
Yeah.
And so it's
what's the new thing?
Yep. Yeah. So
which
it's a challenge.
Throws a monkey wrench into every. Do you have any flagships, I guess, that you would consider a flagship, or like how many different styles do you have out there, different types of beers?
Flagship-wise, definitely Black Butte Porter. We always kind of point to that. There's a great history. Gary Fish, our founder, when he started Deschutes Brewery, led with a dark beer, similar to what you're doing, and so we always point to, even though it's not our biggest volume, Black Butte Porter definitely our flagship brand. And then I talked earlier about Fresh Squeezed IPA. That's our biggest seller. Mirror Pond, Black Butte Porter. We have a brand called Immersion IPA. So kind of a more traditional, I guess you would call Northwest IPA, if you could say that. And then we have a handful. We just released a new brand called Deschutes, which is a 4% lager, so lighter, crisp, kind of like what you were just talking about.
That's what he was trending, yeah?
Yep, yeah.
I think that's a great, and also a lot of the, what I was shocked, I went to the brew talks where Sam was there, and Michelob Ultra apparently is killing it.
Oh, killing it. Yep. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Because they're marketing towards fitness.
Right.
They're like, this is a beer that's low calories, low
Yep.
carb. You can drink it and run or do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And now Sam is making his own beer, a lower carb. He says it's exactly the same carbs. It's Michelob Ultra, but it's an IPA.
Yeah.
I didn't taste it. I should have, but I think it's trending that way as well. That kind of
Yeah, we're seeing the same thing, that people, fitness is definitely a big topic, and people are wanting to work lifestyle. It seems like we're seeing trending towards lower alcohol. And that's,
Right.
yeah. And so we've actually we've been wondering, okay, well, is 4% is for ABV is what about 3.2 or 2.8? I mean, could you have something in between with them, not going to NA, to non-alcoholic, or no alcohol? So that's something we've kind of been discussing internally, and so we've done some fun trials on our pilot system with beers in that 2.8 realm, which have been kind of interesting,
But they have to taste good as well.
Exactly. So there's the challenge, right?
So I think he has the IPA, so he's on the right track, I guess.
Yeah.
It retains the flavor,
Yeah.
but it is a lower calorie beer, which is awesome.
Yeah, which I would take this week, as you know, like when you get well into the day and the night, it's nice to have something to keep you hydrated, and that's not a 7%.
I have my Gatorade here. I've been drinking Gatorade. I think the stock went up since I got here because we're at altitude. I'm at sea level.
Yeah, right.
And then I come here and I'm having headaches. I'm like, well, and then you start drinking beer. It's like you got to hydrate, drink water and Gatorade, and just keep hydrated. But do you see the IPA? I mean, you make the fresh squeeze. Do you do any of the New England style IPAs?
We do, yeah. So we have a brand called Fresh Haze that's fairly new to the market. It will go out. If you get Deschutes in your state, you'll start to see it more on the shelves.
We can talk offline about the haze. How do you keep that haze in the beer unless you want to...
We're not using any processing aids or anything. We're just really looking at the raw material, so a healthy amount of wheat and unmalted wheat. The yeast strain we're using is very non-flocculent,
right.
And so, but gravity ultimately is going to win. So we kind of do our best to get, and then as we're clarifying that beer through our centrifuge, we're targeting a certain turbidity that we feel like is going to provide and keep some haze in that product. But yeah, gravity is always going to win at some point.
And you mentioned the flocculation, because this whole podcast is not just for brewers. It's for people who like beer, or we're trying to convert people from watery beer to craft beer. So the flocculation is the amount of yeast that remains in suspension.
Yep.
That's
yeah,
the
exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So it's awesome. So the IPA is popular. Do you see? I guess we touched upon the lagers, the low-cal beers is becoming popular. But do you see, like in terms in general, like do you think there's like a kind of a craft beer bubble, or what do you think in terms of? Because I know, like yourself, Deschutes scale back regarding the Roanoke facility. But do you think there's kind of a bubble, or is there room for growth, or what do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I mean. Seeing the slides that were presented, I believe it was from Bart yesterday, it kind of points to, I guess how I interpreted it is these breweries will probably be supported by their communities if they're making good beer. The growth, the long-term growth, I don't know if you're going to see that. So when you talk about a bubble, I think it just depends on a lot of these owners of these breweries are they in it for the long haul, right? Are they going to be able to sustain and run a business, or are we going to see a huge pickup in craft consumption? So it's got to be one of those things, right? So one of those things has to give, and so it seems by far the most. I can't remember since when, but that's you talk about over 7,600 breweries. That's a lot. So I don't know. I'm curious how many more we could bring in.
Yeah, and then like major metropolitan areas, they'll have like 50 breweries in the area.
Yeah,
it's just like huge. That's a crazy amount.
Yeah.
I think each town. Well, Germany, every town has their own brewery,
right?
Which is great.
Yeah,
it
is great.
And I think that's what should happen within the U.S. and it's slowly happening. Like they're
Yep.
renovating these older buildings, and just like Roanoke is a perfect example of renovating these old buildings that they're just sitting around.
Yeah,
and now they're developing them into condos, and also brewers are taking these buildings and doing breweries there. So it's a really great thing. Yeah. So. All right. Yeah. Deschutes, you're making great beer. I appreciate you being here. How can they get a hold of Deschutes or you, or is there an email or some kind of a question for you or something?
Yeah. Our website, DeschutesBrewery.com. We're also on social media, and from the website you can find all that. And on our website we actually have a beer finder. So if you're looking for a beer or a specific brand, go in there and punch in a zip code, and it should help you find it.
Yeah.
And then there's a contact us, and yeah, go ahead, feel free to reach out to me.
Are you guys in New York? Do you know or no?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. But you're in Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Oh, I must remember when I go down there to stock up on the Deschutes. Yeah, but that's awesome. Yeah, but they have it here in Colorado, so I enjoyed it last night. But no, I appreciate you coming in. That's really great, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Have a great rest of the conference.
Okay, you too.
Yeah, that was Brian Faivre, Deschutes BrewMaster. A lot of knowledge, a lot of good stuff. They're making some great beer. If they have it near you, get out and get some, or go visit them. I'm in the Northeast, so unfortunately they don't have it in any stores here or bars. But I was in Virginia and I had it there. It's excellent. I have to go out there and visit them. I need to make a trip to Oregon and go. There's just tremendous stuff going on there. Portland. We have hops, excellent stuff. I will be out there at some point. A lot of people saying coming out. I'm going to do that. But if you like what we're doing, you like our podcast, please go on to iTunes, give us a rating, give us a review. That's the only way we get up in rankings. Tell a friend, tell 10 friends about us. We're just giving you quality product, quality guests. We got Brian on. We have tremendous guests. If you take a look at what we've done. Even in the past couple of months, man, we had loads of good guests on. So we're going to try to get those, get other influencers in the industry, other veteran brewers and founders. I'm working on that. We're making more connections, and we're going to make it happen. So, I hope that you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you on Wednesday when we do beer styles. Take care.